Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Yes She Can project. I am beyond delighted today to be joined by the gorgeous Janette. Hello, Janette.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for inviting me. So excited.
So for anybody who's not met you before, come across what you do, could you give us a quick introduction?
Yes. So my name's Janette. I'm a style coach and fashion presenter. And I haven't always been a style coach. I've got a probably 20-year property management background.
Okay.
So complete change of career. And also a mum to two lovely boys. I think my son can hear me say lovely. He'll be like, Mum, you did call me lovely earlier. And the daughter of a now retired bespoke tailor, which has actually influenced a lot of what I'm doing now.
Oh, wow. So a lot of variety, that's for
Yeah.
sure. So, yeah, there's lots to unpick there. So, Jeanette, if you could take us back with you touching on your early life with your father, I'm guessing that he was a massive inspiration for you. Um,
Yes.
just talk us through a little bit about that.
Okay. So, given what I do now, it's an easy assumption for people to assume that it was, it all started with my dad. Now, because I
Yeah.
was so my dad is very large than life. He's, a real people pleaser. He's very extroverted. Everyone loves him. He's very, very well known. And I was the quiet daughter. I was very introverted. I lacked confidence, had zero self-esteem.
Oh,
But because I dressed in a way, I think because I was a people pleaser, I
mhm.
dressed how I expected people, how I thought I should dress. So,
Yeah.
like, sensible shirts and blouses and skirts and things like that. So, I was influenced by my dad in terms of what I wore.
Yeah.
But I was too shy to fall into his footsteps. There was
Oh,
absolutely no way that I was going to go down the fashion route. In fact, when I was at school, my art teacher said to me not to take art as a GCSE because I won't pass. Now,
oh,
I believed her. I thought, well, she knows what she's talking about. I can't draw, because I still can't. But I didn't realise there's a massive difference between sort of drawing and being quite creative. And I'm
yes.
very creative. I still can't draw. If my son was to say to my mum, draw a car or a horse or whatever, they'd look probably the same. So I can't draw, but I'm very creative. And I
Yeah.
think if I was allowed to explore that at school, I thought, well, I'm destined for a world of clerical, as we called it back then, a
Yeah.
desk job, admin and things like that. And I thought that's what I'm going to be doing.
Hmm.
And as much as my dad used to take me to, I mean, back then and it's funny because I never realised what it was I was doing. But my dad used to take me to Savile Row. I would love to go to
Wow.
Savile Row now, but I didn't know at the time I was going to Savile Row. I had no
Yeah.
idea. And that again is because I just didn't take an interest. It was something I had to do. I had to go with my dad
Yeah.
to exhibitions, and I had to work in my dad's shop on a Saturday because my brother is we went sort of down in sort of it was my brother's time. Then it was I got
Okay.
old enough. Then I had to do it, and then
Yeah.
my sister did it. So
So it was just going to dad's work, really, wasn't it?
exactly, I wasn't allowed on the tills or anything like that. I was just like dusting the shelves and getting
Hmm.
my dad lunch and showing the ladies a fitting room. And that's what it was. So I can look back now and I can say I was heavily influenced, but at the time I didn't think I was. I never even said,
Do you think that played into your introvertedness though, because you were kind of
yeah,
behind the scenes rather than being kind of customer facing? Do you think that would have been
yeah.
really scary for you at the time to have to do?
Definitely. There's no, I mean, even when someone did come into the shop, I would still dread it, thinking, oh God,
Oh,
because I knew that I had to go and sort of greet them at the door or ask them, can I help you, or show them to the change room and things like that. And I didn't really want to do it, but because I was in my dad's shop,
yeah.
it was as if I was told to set the table at home. It was something I had
Yeah.
to do.
Hmm.
So and I was the same at school. But people used to always say to me, oh, you dress so nicely.
Oh, mhm.
And I never really used to get it. I used to think, well, I'd be with friends and they'd be in like
Mhm.
designer clothes and bright clothes and things like that. And I was wearing what I thought was quite boring and quite sort of, understated, but people used to
Mhm.
always say to me, I was the one who got the compliments. So you dress so
Oh,
nicely. But I think it's because coming from a tailoring background, I
mhm.
knew how to style myself and
Yeah.
I knew how to sort of dress in a classy way.
Mhm.
So, yes, he's influenced me. I can say that now, but at the
Yeah.
time, it didn't feel that way. It really didn't. It was like a something I had to do as opposed to something I wanted to do.
So do you think that rather than going down the kind of fashion route at that time, do you think it was a lot to do with your confidence and that's why you went into property instead? Or did
Yeah,
it just kind of come about that way?
yeah. I mean, I left school. I went to college, but I did every course I could. Again, being a
Right.
people pleaser, I knew my dad wanted me to, to study, go to university and things like
Yeah.
that. And I never really thought I wanted to go to university, and I didn't. But I
Mhm.
just did every single course I could find just to get his approval, really.
Yeah.
And my first job was actually in the supermarket,
Okay.
even though my first job was actually at my dad's shop. But for me, in my head, that wasn't work. It
Yeah.
was actually like in a
Family
supermarket.
life.
And yeah, and I did that. And then I think like my first, what I would call like my proper job, like I wanted to do,
Mhm.
was working for British Airways. But again, that wasn't in the airport front facing, that was in customer relations behind the scenes. So I was in a
Right.
call centre for British Airways and I loved it.
Mhm.
And the only reason I left there was because my eldest son was about to start primary school,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be closer to home because I was at
Mhm.
Heathrow every day. So I just remember looking in the Evening Standard at home and saw this job advert that said customer service in a property in estate agents, and that was
Yeah.
literally that's what started my career into property management, up until
Okay.
actually having my own property management business.
Wow. Gosh, so you really climbed the ladder quickly.
Yeah, yeah, I did. And none of it was to do with fashion at all. I mean, I dressed nicely, and
Mhm.
people used to always say to me, where did you get your outfits from and things like that. And
Yeah.
I even remember the director at one of the companies that I worked for, he said to me, sort of pulled me aside one day and said, look, my daughter's got her dissertation and it's in fashion. Can you sit down and help her? And I was like, okay.
Oh.
So
So you had, like, the vibe of, like, a fashionista, but to you, it was just normal, it was just
it
the
was
way
just
that you always
normal.
had dressed.
Yes, where I was always dressed. I never saw anything sort of special about it. But
Yeah,
I do think that's where the influence from my dad came in because of that smart tailoring background. My dad never, even on holidays, I've never seen my dad in a pair of jeans. He's never even owned a pair of jeans
wow.
and or a t-shirt. The
Mhm.
only t-shirt I've ever seen my dad wear is if he's going to the gym. And
Yeah.
he's not very well at the moment, so he doesn't even go anymore. But that's the
Oh.
only time I've ever seen my dad in a t-shirt. And even when we were on holiday, like going, whether it was Jamaica or Cornwall, my dad
Mhm.
would have tailored shorts that he made himself,
Oh my
and he'd have a
goodness.
shirt on with like the short sleeves. That's as
Yeah.
far as my dad's casual clothes would go.
Okay, that's as casual as it gets.
That's as casual as it gets, yeah.
Oh. So going from how did you make the switch then, Jeanette? Was there a particular light bulb moment for you where you were in property and thought, "Do you know what? I feel like I'm not following my heart."
Yeah, so I by that time, I had my own business. My youngest son was now at primary school and he was full time and everything. So I was
Yeah.
well full time into the business, and I was just I thought to myself, it is a very thankless job, property management. It's very you're sort of it's very reactive. So any calls that we get, if there would be complaints really. So a
Yeah.
tenant would call up and say, boiler's not working or fence has fallen down or something like that. Obviously there's good sides as well. You get a new
Mhm.
client, new property, you get to go around and things like that. But I tried sort of serviced accommodation, like going into like having an Airbnb business, because
Yeah.
I knew that there was an aspect of the business that I just wasn't getting. Like the creative part of me was really stifled.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to go into a property and leave a bottle of wine in there for them and a nice
Yeah.
card and something like a little hamper or something like that.
Mhm.
And that's in serviced accommodation. That's not really in residential.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
a friend of mine, you know, we sort of went down that route, said, let's try it. Anyway, that was so much work. We just thought, oh God, the first one we got on, we just couldn't even do it. And then, you know, it didn't work out. So we, you know, she continued doing what she was doing. I continued doing what I was doing, but I just fell more and more out of love with it. And at the time online, because I wasn't even online either. I didn't even have a business online. That's how, you know, I joined Facebook really late. And it was one of my cousins that actually said to me, if you don't join Facebook, I want to open an account in your name and add your photos and stuff. Yeah, she really scared me, and I thought, okay, I better just join this thing, because you know, you're not keeping in touch with people, and you know, all sorts of stuff. So I was really, really late. So I didn't have my business online at all. And when I sort of found the online world, and then I found like lots of female groups, and I really sort of thought, oh, this is really nice. There's other women doing different things, and they're enjoying it, and they're very passionate about it. And I joined the Female Entrepreneur Association, which is run by Carrie Green. And I joined her membership. So it was back in like 2016, and one of the masterclasses they were teaching us how to make planners. And I remember designing this beautiful digital planner, just like a calendar. And I took it over to my friend's house, because her and her husband gave me their properties to rent out for them. So when I started the business, it was pretty good. You know, my parents gave me 2 properties to look after. My best friend and her husband had 2 properties. So, you know, I built up my portfolio like that. So I always remember showing her husband this planner, and I said, oh, what do you think of this? And I was so proud of it. And he was like, very politely, so, oh, that's nice, you know, but he didn't like it. Basically, he didn't, because it was just too girly. And I was like, Janette, you idiot! Like, why are you trying to sell this to? Not even so much sell it like I was gonna, but I thought, this is you want to do something for women. You're really girly, and you just don't get to have your girly fun,
girly creative fire.
Just don't, just don't. And I thought, you've shown him this really pretty. I tried to make it masculine by leaving it grey, but it was just you know, he said, I'm not really going to use this. I've got my calendar on my phone. And I thought, I need to do this for women, but I still didn't have that outlet. I thought, well, I don't even know what to do for women, really. So at the time, it was when Carrie Green launched her book, She Means Business. And I'd read this book called The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber. So I'd already read it. But when Carrie was talking about it, because I know Carrie quite well, I've met her a good few times. So when she was actually talking about it, I think because you can relate to something in someone else's voice.
Definitely.
And so because she talked about it, I then listened a bit more to the book, more than I had before. And I won't spoil it for the listeners, but there's basically a visualization exercise in the book. And he takes the character in the book to her funeral and says, you know, what do you want people to say about you? What do you want to be known for? And that was it. That was the pivotal thing for me. I thought, no one is ever going to stand up at my funeral and say I was a good property manager. They're just not. Like, no one's going to come to my funeral and say that, you know?
No.
But I didn't want to be known for that anyway. And I thought, well, what do I want to be known for? I've been to lots of funerals, more than I should have done in my lifetime. I always say to my parents, you know, you didn't have to take us to funerals when we were small. Like, I don't do that to my children. So I've been to a lot of funerals. So I know what it's like to sort of, you know, when people talk about someone and you think, we all think we want someone to say something like that nice about us. We're not going to get to hear it when we're gone. But you want to be able to hear it now. And that was it for me. I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. And that was it. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be able to help women. I want women to say, if it wasn't for Janette, I wouldn't have, I don't know, worn this dress and met the man of my dreams, or worn that suit and got the job that I wanted. You know, I wanted that. And I thought, property management is not going to get me this feeling that I want. And that was it.
Oh, wow, I love that, because that comes from a place of experience, and that
Mm,
comes from a place of like you wanting to help other people, and I think that's
yeah,
what makes it even more extra special.
yeah,
So
it really
how
does.
how did your own style develop, Jeanette? Because obviously we talked about you being introverted and kind
Yeah.
always dressing smart, but not particularly how you would think, like bold and bright, because you didn't want to be seen. How did that weave its way into this idea, what you do now?
I think because I think especially when I first started, I was still sort of dressed in neutrals.
Okay.
Clients have looked back on my Instagram feed and they say there's been a massive shift. Like if we look way back to like last year or the year before, you're dressed in neutrals and suddenly everything gets brighter. Like what
Yeah.
happened? And I think again, it was the whole. I didn't even realize I was an introvert. I didn't realize that I was holding myself back with color.
Okay.
I didn't realize. I knew, I sort of trained in that part, of color theory as part of my qualification, but I wasn't
Yeah.
really applying it to myself.
Okay. Which
And
we
I
all
didn't
do
realize,
very often, don't we?
right, right. And I didn't realize how good I feel when I wear color, because obviously I was still experimenting and getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Um, but I think for me, I think what it was, I kind of was getting older. So I just
Right.
turned 50. So last year when this kind of happened, I think I was around 48.
Hmm.
And I thought, if not now, when?
Yeah.
There's lots of things I kept saying to myself, if not now, when?
Hmm.
And if I don't suddenly come out of this shell and be more visible online and show up and be seen, the same things I'm saying to my clients to do, if
Yeah.
not now, when?
Hmm.
And I was invited to an event at the Ivy by a huge brand that I follow.
Oh,
And yeah, it was lovely. And they gave us some dresses to wear,
yeah.
and I chose a pink one.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, you didn't die. Nothing happened.
At
You
least
wore
people
it.
can say she wore the pink dress when they're at my
Yeah.
funeral.
Yeah. And it was, that a lot of it changed for me, because I thought,
Okay.
well, nothing, what I was scared of, nothing happened,
Yeah.
and I think that's what it was. It was like, okay, it actually feels nice to put on something bright.
Yeah.
Um,
And it seems
but
like it's been transformational for you though, like you've
yes,
had your own personal journey throughout this
yes,
particular business in your
yes,
styling and stuff and wanting to help women. And I think that makes it even more special, because you're kind of transitioning through your own style whilst
mm,
helping other people do the same. And that's lived
yeah,
experience, and that's when people get so much out of it.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think, I like to share my journey. I like to share this experience, because I don't just, lots of women have said to me, did you get like a copywriter for your website? And, who helped you write the words? And I say, it's all me.
Yeah.
I didn't get it from anywhere. This is just my experience, because
Mhm.
I think my experience can help other women. It's not just my
Definitely.
qualifications or what I've learned and what I've studied. It's my own experience, and it's what
Yeah.
I've gone through. Um, but I also do say to, because of my introversion, it's not that I don't have friends, or because sometimes there's a
Mhm.
bit of that myth. It's like, well, what is introversion? So mine is more to do with my energy levels.
Right. Okay.
And I do find that if I have got spent a day wearing pink or something bright, or and doing lots of work, when I come home I do take it off,
Yeah.
because I then need to recharge in something
Yeah.
neutral.
Okay.
And I find that sort of recharging in something neutral just helps me to sort of just take it down a little bit.
Yeah. But
Just put
really
on some.
on the
Yeah,
flip side as well though, like we were discussing before, if
yeah,
it mirrors your mood almost.
yes,
So
yeah,
when you're wearing darker colours, for example, you perhaps
yeah,
don't feel as powerful, you feel
yeah,
low, not as confident, but then you can
yeah,
switch that up purely with an item of clothing, which I think is really amazing.
yeah, yeah. And I do it all the time. I said the
Mhm.
same thing to a client a few months ago. She was really, really busy. She had a really busy week.
Yeah.
And even our session, you know, was a little bit, you know, she just wanted to just not end the call, because she enjoyed speaking to me, but
Yeah.
she could have done with a day that she didn't have to speak to anyone really. And I said, right, when you come off this call, this is your weekend to dress in neutral colours. Like, just
Yeah.
do it. I said, because it's going to help you to recharge and really just feel a little bit more balanced. And then you can just go again on Monday, put on the bright things and show up for your audience and your clients and your team and everything like that. I said, but this weekend, just wear your favourite neutral colours and really just have like a duvet day.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I think when you dress in brighter colours, it can really boost your energy, can't it? It can almost
Yes,
make you feel like an excited toddler sometimes. Because you know
yes,
how, like, babies and toddlers, there's a reason why they
yes,
respond better to bright
yeah,
colours and things. So
yeah.
it must kind of continue into adulthood for us.
Yes, it does. But then I find, for me, you're sort of running around like a Duracell battery. Suddenly you put the pink on, and then you're running around like a Duracell, and you're going to crash at some point,
Yeah.
you know, because as an introvert, my social battery drains a lot faster than someone
Okay.
else. So
Yeah.
that's why I then have to sort of just, you know, with everything that was going on this morning that I told you about, I said to my son, I was like, I need to go on like a word search thing on my phone. And he was trying to talk to me and, you
Bit
know,
of
trying to
Candy
sort of,
Crush.
yeah, I did. I was like, I just need to do this. And he was trying to say, oh, mum, you're not letting me look at it. And I was like, because I just want to do it by myself. I just want to just be by myself. Just give me like 5 minutes, please.
Oh. So is it something that you still struggle with? Kind of, are you hyper aware of it so that you have to match your wardrobe to how you're feeling, like with your introvertsy at the moment?
No, no,
Okay.
it's something I use to my advantage
Yeah.
now.
Is your
Yeah.
superpower.
Yeah, I use it to my advantage. So if I know that I need to, you know, get loads of stuff done, or if I know that I need to feel quite empowered, then I
Mhm.
know exactly what to put on. If I
Yeah.
have a day that actually I just want to just go like to Blue Water or something and just put my head down, not really want to be seen, then I'll just be like a white t-shirt and jeans and just like
Yeah.
really neutral. And, you know, because I'm not then in a pink jacket or pink something that someone's going to say, oh, that looks nice. You
Yeah.
know I can just get in and out if I'm just
Yeah.
wearing something a little bit more understated. But also I do like classic colours. I like, you know, I like neutral colours.
Yeah.
You know, I used to spend Saturdays with my mum watching black and white movies, you know, so all
Yeah.
like Breakfast at Tiffany's and, you know, anything with Audrey Hepburn. So I grew up like that. So there
Mhm.
wasn't anything pink or anything like that. I mean, as a matter of
Yeah.
fact, pink wasn't even, I never sort of thought, oh, you know, I suddenly want to wear pink. It was a colour that I found that I realised worked for me.
Yeah.
Red, not so much. It was like I
Okay.
put red on, it felt really powerful, but it wasn't a colour that I wanted to wear every day. And once I discovered that this pink really suits me, I was like, well, this is what I want to wear all the time. And it's been
Yeah.
hilarious actually the past month, because if I'm wearing pink, the amount of people that have said to me, oh, you've been to the Barbie movie, haven't you? And I'm just like, no, I haven't.
I was always like this. Bless you. So would you say, Jeanette, in fact, you've just touched on that pink works for you. It actually kind of leads into one of the services that you offer. So you do offer like a color analysis for your clients
Yes.
as well, don't you? Can you talk
Yes, I
me
do.
um through a bit about that, please?
Yeah, sure. So with the color analysis, again, this is something it's a game changer. I used to wear in estate agency, you know, you want to be seen. So as much as I had a back office position, there
Yeah.
were times I needed to go out and see clients and things like that. So I always wanted to, you know, have nice nails and, you know, if I
Mhm.
had a meeting, want to put on like a bold red lipstick. And I struggled to wear red because I didn't
Okay.
know about color theory and which colors suit you, whether you're warm, cool, or anything like that. I just didn't even know
Mhm.
anything about it. So once I'd learned all of that, I was like, oh, this is actually, you know, actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I've, you know, recorded videos of myself. I remember doing a live stream once and I had on like a sort of like a beige blouse. I
Right.
loved the blouse. It had like a nice sort of pussy bow neckline, beautiful
Mhm.
buttons, and absolutely lovely. But I spent that live stream going like this. I kept on going like that, and
Okay.
I was like, just for the whole time, thinking that I had makeup down here, and I didn't. It's
Right.
because the shade of the top was causing shadows under my eyes.
Oh my
And this is
God.
what certain colours do for us. They show lines, they show shadows and different things. So when I put different colours up to clients and I say, look, can you see the difference with this one, this one? They're like, oh my God, I look ill with that one, or I look old, or I look really bright with this one. And I didn't realise. I just didn't know that that's what
Mhm.
was happening. But I remember spending that video going like that.
Oh, bless you. Oh wow, amazing. So what other services do you offer to your clients?
So most of my clients will have a wardrobe edit. So that's where I come. So I can either do it on Zoom, which I did because of lockdown. So that's
Yeah.
still quite popular to do it on Zoom. So I will look at their wardrobe and, really give it a good clear out. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier for me to do it than for them to do it because,
Yeah.
we hold on to things. We're very reluctant to let go of stuff. And it's easy for me to come in and say, right, I think
Mhm.
based on what you've told me in terms of your style and your size and your colours and things like that, this isn't really going to help you by keeping it. Keep this
Okay.
one. This is, all you need to do is wear this with it. And, that's a really popular service to have.
Yeah.
And also personal shopping. They get the real pretty woman experience when they go personal shopping. I actually carry their bags for them, which I love
Oh
to do.
my God.
Yeah. So we have a consultation first of all, and
Yeah.
then based on where we decide to meet, I will do the shopping for them. So I will go ahead of time, do all the shopping, and I've got relationships with quite a lot of the stores, so I will put the clothes aside. So
Oh
when
my
they get there,
gosh.
it's all ready for them in the fitting rooms because I'm aware that they don't actually want to be walking around, and I don't want anyone walking around with me. I just want to do
Okay.
it by myself. So
Yeah.
everything's ready for them. So, and they're also a lot more willing, I would say, to try
Mm.
on things if it's there in the fitting room, instead of me saying, would you wear that's hanging up? They're like, oh no.
Yeah.
If it's hanging up, they're like, okay, I'll try it because it's already there. Like I think subliminally, you're already in the fitting room. The
Yeah.
top, the dress, whatever is already in the fitting room, and no one's ever said they're not trying something ever. They've
Okay.
tried it on, even if they thought, okay, I didn't think it would work. They've still tried it on. Whether they're just being polite, I don't know, but it works.
Yeah. Yeah, because I
And
think when
they,
you're on the shop floor, if you've got too much choice, it can
yes,
become overwhelming. And if you're not
yeah,
too clear about like your own personal style and what suits you,
yeah,
then to be given so much choice just makes
yeah,
it too hard. Whereas if
yeah.
it's, we're going back to toddlers again, you always have
Yes.
to say to them, do you
Yeah.
want this one or this one?
Yeah. 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 So that's one of the popular ones as well. But the main sort of package that I offer, which recently has been really popular, has been the unseen to unforgettable package, because so
Okay.
many women want to be seen
Hmm.
online more. We're starting businesses more and more, and we want to really make an impact. We don't want to hide anymore. Everyone's seeing everybody online and,
Yeah.
influencers and all sorts of things. And it's just no one wants to be held back. No one wants to be sort of
Hmm.
left behind. So the unseen to unforgettable package is one that is really appealing.
Yeah.
And, I've had lots of women go through, it's like a 4 to 6 week program, and
Okay.
it's one-to-one. I've had a good few people go through that now, and they're just like, this is amazing, because it literally takes
Oh,
them from feeling from Peter Fabulous, really. And,
oh.
at the end, they have a capsule wardrobe that I put together for them. And,
Mhm.
they absolutely love it, and they can see the transformation themselves. I sort of take them through like a bit of a roadmap. And
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love doing that with them.
Yeah, it's like I'm a business mentor as well. It's doing the podcast, and it's almost like you see that transformation in front of your eyes. You feel like you're such a big part of their
Yeah.
journey, and it's
Yeah.
just so wonderful to see the
Yeah.
changes, isn't it?
Yeah. It really is. It
It's
really is.
amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. It's lovely when you get the testimonial from them, or even just a little bit of
Yeah.
feedback during the time that you're working together, and they can see
Mhm.
how things are going for them, or you get a message that says, oh, I thought about you when I bought this. Even now, even for past
Oh,
clients, I'll
yeah.
get a message to say, I still have this that you bought, or this that you chose for me, or this checklist. I've got this checklist which must have designed that like 2018. I still have women say, I
Wow.
still use it. I still use it. It still helps me to have like the right things in my wardrobe.
So you're like changing lives, Janette. Let's,
Yeah,
not beat around the bush. This
no,
is life changing.
it is. And it's exactly what I said that I wanted. Whenever I've
Yeah.
had like a scare, even, I've had a few, breast cancer scares, things like that,
Mhm.
I've had to have biopsies and things like that. And I've always said, am I doing what I said I wanted to do when I read that book? And as long as I'm still hearing that from clients and women to say, oh my gosh, Janette, thank you so much for showing me those shoes, or even if it's not paid me, even if it's just a Facebook post or an Instagram
Mhm.
reel or something like that, as long as I'm still changing lives in that way, then
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Oh. So talking about the fact that you're changing lives, you're actually helping a lot of women at a certain point in their lives, like specifically women who are over 40. Have
Yeah.
you noticed like a bigger uptake in your client base being that age, just because it's kind of where you really find yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think social media has really influenced how we sort of see ourselves.
Definitely.
And there's so much choice out there. And
Hmm.
no one wants to be left behind. No one wants to be the one that doesn't look as good as everybody else.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we still have that. And I think when you're in your 40s, you've got your friends that, you've got baby showers and weddings and, all of that. And there's a lot of camera focus, there's lots
Yeah.
of online everything.
Hmm.
And women are more willing to do it now. They realize that, having a stylist isn't something just for celebrities. They
Yeah.
want to be styled because A, they want to tell their friends they've had a stylist. And
Hmm.
I'm very confidential as well. I never, ever, ever reveal anyone I'm working with. I don't even
Yeah.
tag them in a post or anything because it's very personal.
Yeah.
There's many women that don't want to admit that they've actually asked for help because
Yeah.
they see it as a weakness sometimes.
Yeah.
And I understand that. So I
Hmm.
never reveal anyone I'm working with.
Yeah.
But I think turning 40 is that time of our life. I mean, I think anyone will say that unless they've turned 50. Because I remember saying when I turned 40, but when I turned 50, I was like, oh, no, 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 no. It's turning 50 is
There's
the
more to
time.
come.
Yeah. So, but I do think that it is, that they can see that there is a better life for
Yeah.
themselves. They can
Hmm.
see that, whatever it was that they've been listening to for years isn't true anymore.
Yeah.
I think we're all a bit more aware and a bit more awake to things that are going on. We're reading more. We know that, you don't have to sort of go to school and university and get a job. You don't need, that's not like the requirement anymore or the
No.
prerequisite for you to get a job. So I
Hmm.
think,
Or run your own business as well. I
yeah,
think a lot of women are doing that, aren't they? So
yeah, yeah,
I think we spend a lot of our like 20s and 30s, focused on family, having children, and it's
yeah,
as the kids are starting to grow up, we start to think, oh gosh, who am I
yeah,
outside being a mum? And
yeah,
I think that's where that comes from at that particular age, I think.
yeah, it does, it does. So, turning 40 is still a real big, it's a pivotal time in women's
Yeah,
lives. And it's, a huge, like, it could be a career change as well, but I do find that I love, now that I sort of niched down into that age group and actually sort of put
yeah,
it specifically, then I've noticed that, a lot of women are coming to me because they say, actually, yeah, I do need your help. I never
yeah.
thought I did before, but I do, I can
Mhm.
see what you're doing. I can see how you're showing up. And,
Yeah.
they want to know how they can feel the same.
Yeah, definitely. So Jeanette, how do you go from being an introverted child
Yeah.
to, wait for it, everybody, being on Steph's Packed Lunch as a presenter?
I
And
know.
I heard, did you mention this morning? And also QVC.
Yeah, not this morning, QVC.
Oh, I thought you said earlier this morning.
No,
I've not talked to you.
no, I might have
Okay,
said something
right.
about, no, as in this morning.
Well, you see, that must be next on the cards. I see
I
it
know.
coming.
I know lots of people have said that to me actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think again, I wouldn't have been able to do this 2 years ago.
Oh,
I wouldn't have been able to be on TV 2 years ago, because I just wasn't that person.
okay.
I really wasn't the I really came out of myself. I really stood out more for myself, and I really showed me really what I'm capable of. And I just said, if not now, when? And when I realized that I didn't die by wearing head to toe pink, I thought, okay, well, this is good. And I really enjoy, as much as I am introverted, I have spent many, many years as a child alone in my bedroom with a hairbrush talking
Yeah.
to myself. So I
Oh,
think that's why being on stage or, presenting, I love it,
yeah.
because I'm so used to, people say, God, how can you be on TV? And it's like, well, there's only one camera. And there's only a few people around you. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm in an audience of people.
Yeah.
It's completely different. So I feel very confident on presenting, because I feel like I'm just talking about what I love doing, and I'm
Exactly.
not sort of phased by the cameras or anything like that. Of course I was in the beginning, we all would be.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is my happy place. I do feel
Mhm.
really, really comfortable doing that. And again, I'm just here to inspire other introverts to say, just don't believe the hype about introversion. It's not, doesn't mean that you have to hide or do anything. Like, we
Yeah.
have superpowers that people just don't know. And
Mhm.
we just explore it however you want to explore it. Just explore it. And I do
Yeah.
mine from style.
Oh, but you see, I think that probably makes it easier to deal with because you're speaking from such a place of passion. So, when
Yeah,
you're really passionate about something, it,
yeah,
it doesn't it doesn't take much preparation mentally, I don't think, because it just comes
no,
out because it's in your veins, isn't it?
yes it is, yes it is. And also, I mean, if I sort of look at my dad, I mean, he's 85 now. But if I look at him and what he's done over the years and
Yeah.
how hard he worked, because I was in the Voice newspaper with him I think it was back in June,
Yeah.
for their Windrush souvenir edition for the Windrush, 75 years of the Windrush. And that was so lovely for me to show my dad, what he's done, because again,
Yeah.
you can't, they're not going to hear it when they're gone, they're not
Yeah.
going to hear it at their own funeral. And I wanted him to see, look what you've done, look how you've helped me do what I'm doing.
Oh,
And
it's so special.
yeah, and he's just, we just take it for granted,
Mhm.
because he's so good at what he does. He's probably just taking it for granted. It was just work. I'm
Yeah.
like, look at this, this is
Oh.
you in the newspaper. And it's not the first newspaper he's been in, but
Mhm.
I think for me, it's really just wanting to show other women what's possible,
Yeah.
and letting them see, we just don't have to hold ourselves back, which is what I did for so many years. I'd be so much further ahead if I didn't hold myself back. But then I don't sort of regret that, because I think, well, I don't know
Yeah.
what I would have been doing. I might have been further ahead in property,
Yeah, exactly.
and
And
which I
and
wouldn't have
not where
wanted to
you
do.
wanted to be,
Yeah,
and this is like I mean, you can just see it when you talk, it's your true calling. It's almost
yeah.
like what you were always supposed to do.
Yeah, I honestly do feel that. I
Oh,
really, really do feel that. And even my art teacher saying to me, don't bother to take art as a GCSE. I mean, I believed her, because I could see other girls that were confident doing
right.
art.
Yeah.
So the confident girls were the ones who, went on to fashion college and,
Yeah.
the sixth form and things like that. That's how I saw it. And I also saw confident people wearing colour, whereas
Yeah.
us quieter ones are the ones that would hide away in neutrals.
Mhm.
And, my Facebook group is called the Quietly Stylish Collective. And
Oh,
that is, to say to women, you can be quietly stylish. You don't
yeah.
have to be loud, which is the myth,
Mhm.
that is the belief I had, was that you needed to be, if you're wearing colour, you must be an extrovert.
Yeah.
That's just what I
Which isn't true
thought.
at all. Yeah. It's all about our own confidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about how the clothes make us feel personally.
Yes.
It's not to do with what anybody else sees. It's to do with
Yeah.
how it affects our energy and how it
Yes.
makes us feel, on a daily
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely,
Jeanette, I'm
definitely.
so
So,
happy for you. You
oh,
just
thank
you're doing
you.
such an amazing job,
Oh,
honestly.
thank you so much. Thank you. I absolutely love it. I really, really enjoy it. I really,
You
really
can
do.
see that. You can
Yeah.
definitely see that. So what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
Well, it's funny you should ask me that actually, because I think it's time that I actually set up my own podcast. So I love talking to myself.
No hairbrushes here anymore.
No, it's something that I've thought about. And I think it would be a good add-on. So I actually wrote it down at the weekend and I said to myself, yeah, I think that's going to be like my Q4 project for
Yeah.
this year is
Mhm.
to launch my podcast. So because I just like talking just like this, there's so many
Yeah.
times I write things down or I might just do
Yeah.
like a voice memo or something like that. And I thought it's so easy to I feel so passionate about what I do. It's so easy to just come up with a topic
Yeah.
sometimes.
Mhm.
And you probably know this with your listeners as well, that especially after lockdown and again about our energy levels, we don't always want to watch something. Sometimes it's lovely
Yeah.
just to listen to something,
Exactly.
you know,
Mhm.
because it's too
Yeah.
much if you got to watch something all the time. You might just want to just put your AirPods in and just listen to something as opposed to watch something.
Yeah, and
And
I mean, you can listen while, like, you're making your tea, you can
yeah,
listen while you walk in to pick the kids up from school, you
yeah,
can listen everywhere, but watching seems such a mammoth task sometimes,
yes,
doesn't it? Because you feel
yeah,
like you're really
yeah,
taking time out to do it.
yeah, exactly. And I think because I'm not then having to sort of think, oh, I need to get on camera, I need to put on
Mhm.
something that people expect me to be wearing. Because even now, like, even like my family would say, oh, God, we knew you were coming, so we really had to make an effort. And I think to myself, God, you lot just don't realise. Sometimes I don't want to make an effort either. Like, just give me a break for once.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I think with the podcast, it's a nice outlet for me to do without me
mhm.
having to feel pressured of, okay, I need to do like a YouTube video or
Yeah.
Instagram reel or something like that. I can still give
Mhm.
back. And so that's my next thing because I've launched my membership. So that was my Q3. That's my now thing, my Q3 project. So I always like to
Okay.
put them into projects in the year.
Yeah.
So my Q3 project is my membership, which I've just launched, which is just, it's my happy place.
Oh, so talk to us about your membership.
So it's called the Outfit Cure Society. Because I know how easy it is for me to put outfits together. I can put them together in my sleep.
I bet.
Yeah, and and it's sort of that influence from my dad, that tailoring
Yeah.
background and using wardrobe staples and knowing the importance of having our staple pieces, our core pieces in our wardrobe. And
Yeah.
so many times women will say, I just don't know what to wear this with, I don't know how to put that together. And I think, God, I know not everyone can afford a stylist. So I need to
Mhm.
put together something low cost that's not one-to-one. Everyone's going
Yeah.
to be sharing the same information, but it's really going to help them. So every month they do get, so what I've basically done, I've stuffed it full with wardrobe staples. So they've got
Okay.
links. They can actually, there's a shopping board in there that's probably got, I don't even know, over 100 pieces on there
Wow.
and counting. So I've not even added knitwear yet because we're not quite into knitwear season.
Yeah.
But I'm adding it on. So they can log into the shopping board and if they need a white t-shirt, they can just go and get a white t-shirt. It's right. And I picked the things for them. So because they trust me, they
Yeah.
know that I've chosen pieces, it's going to be flattering,
Mhm.
in the right colours and things like that. So they've got, it's stuffed full of wardrobe staples. And then every
Yeah.
month they've got a style edit for each month. So we've done
Mhm.
August, we've done July. And then they
Amazing.
can just choose like some sort of seasonal pieces.
Yeah.
But what I do every week is give them what I call a style clinic. So they can come and ask me questions, anything. Ask,
Gosh.
send me a photo of something and you're not sure, let me help you,
Yeah.
give you feedback and things like that. So
Mhm.
that's what I've
So it's
put
like
together
a
and I
little
just absolutely love it.
stylist in their pocket.
Yes, that's exactly what I said to them. I'm your stylist in your pocket.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
what you should call your podcast, the stylist in your pocket, because people will be
That's a
listening
good,
on their phone, won't they?
yeah, that's probably a good tagline, actually, and I will credit you for that. That's a good
Okay,
tagline
thank
because
you.
I've actually decided to call it the Quietly Stylish podcast because
Okay.
yeah, because I want my introverted ladies to realise, that you
Yeah.
don't have to be loud and
Hmm.
that sort of thing. The quietly stylish look is
Yeah.
very, very classy, and
Hmm.
we just don't, we don't want to be the centre of attention. We don't like to be the life and soul of the party, but we still
Yeah.
want to look nice. And people
Exactly.
assume because we've got on a nice outfit and we look like we're the life and soul of the party, they just want us to talk more.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't want to.
Exactly, because it's about teaching women to dress for themselves
Yeah.
and what
Yeah.
makes them happy.
Yes. Yeah. So the podcast is going to be called the Quietly Stylish Podcast.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Because then that way you can talk through your journey and the
Yeah.
challenges that you've faced, and it will help so many people as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Oh,
will.
exciting. So, Janette, if someone could wave a magic wand and grant you your like ultimate career goal wish, what would it be?
To be an international motivational speaker.
But you see, that's not a wish, that is like totally achievable.
Yeah, that is literally what I want to be doing when I retire. I want to be,
Okay.
traveling around the world and being on stage and inspiring women. I want to be in front of thousands of women
Oh,
and really helping. I want them to leave crying happy tears because they
yeah.
feel so empowered and inspired. And yeah, that's what I want to be doing
Oh my gosh.
ultimately.
I
Yeah,
could totally see that happening as well. I could even
I can
see you
feel
on
it.
stage in your pink dress.
Yeah, I feel it. I honestly can
Visualize
feel it.
it.
Yeah, I can. I
Oh,
can. It's just a matter of time.
definitely. Definitely. The stars will align for you, I'm sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
So if how can people find out more and how can they work with you?
So they can head to my website, which is JanetteDMiller.com. So www.JanetteDMiller.com, which is the easiest place because it's all brand new and sparkly and it's easy to navigate. And they can find me on there. And I do
Okay.
hang about quite a lot on Instagram. So that again, that's JanetteDMiller.com. Yeah,
Okay.
Janette Miller on Instagram.
Okie doke. I will pop the links in the show notes for everybody so that they can go and check it out. Well,
Yes.
Janette, it's been an absolute
Thank
pleasure to speak to
you.
you. I've really
Thank you
enjoyed it.
so much for inviting me. I love it. I love talking like this. It's just, yes, it's absolutely lovely. So thank you so much for inviting me.
No problem. And I cannot wait to hear the first episode of your brand new podcast
I
very
know.
soon.
I know. I will do. And I'm going to credit you for the tagline.
Oh, thank you. All right, Janette, you take
Thank you
care.
so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.